Okay, so I press record. Okay. All right. Hi. Welcome to another Angular Sussex meetup. Tonight we've got our friend Rob Rodriguez. Hope I pronounced that okay.
Ramirez.
Yeah, sorry.
Totally different last name, but that's all right.
Exactly. It's just, yeah, sorry, I'm a Brit. Right. And yes, he's going to be talking about VS Code. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to him and I'll be quiet. Okay, all the best. Cheers.
Thank you. All right,
So,
I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. Let me know if you can see my screen.
yep, can see. Thank you.
Thank you. So today I'm going to be presenting in regards to VS Code, my tool of choice. I think it's one of the best tools for coding work. We're going to do a brief introduction to VS Code. Then later we're going to do why is VS Code my tool of choice? What do you get out of the box by default when you install VS Code? A little bit about Emmet. Some plugins. I'm going to go over some plugins that VS Code that you can get to make your application development faster. I'm going to go over Git as it integrates with VS Code so that you can see it in action. And I'm going to be also going over a bit about Angular and VS Code. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. For those that don't know me, I'm a self-confessed developer spy that infiltrates companies to make them a better place to work. I am the believer that if I go to somewhere or I introduce myself to a group of people or anyone, I believe to leave it or leave better than what I found it as. So I love to code and I love clean code. I always stress to my team that we should be doing always clean code and that clean code should be your goal. We're not perfect, and I don't expect everyone to always be coding clean code, but we should always strive for clean code. I'm also a patriot of teamwork, with the understanding that we don't code we code for humans, but we don't code for machines. Basically, what I'm saying is that many times we try to be smart about our coding, and we shorten, variable names. We give it one letter. We try to make everything fit in one line of code. We get our own logic very convoluted and complicated with no reason. And I think we should just keep it simple so that the next developer or yourself later on in the future can also understand what you wrote, right? So we are writing for humans. So I'm writing for myself, I'm writing for you, for the next developer that comes along that is going to look at my code. So we are not writing for machines. Okay, machines, they don't care. We are the ones that care about it because in actuality, we spend more than, I would say, 90% of our time reading the code versus really coding, right? So let me give you a brief introduction of VS Code. It was built by Microsoft, and so you the truth, after IE, I'm really shocked that this is a great product. So just take that with a great insult. So they announced it publicly in one of those conferences in April 9, 29, 2015, and it was released under MIT license in November 15, 2015. And I think that the quick turnaround was because they saw a need for something like what VS Code is, right? It's not only a text editor, it's more than that. It's an IDE at the same time. So it gives you so much more, It's a source code editor. It runs in multiple operating systems. You can debug with it. It does syntax highlighting. It does IntelliSense. You can do snippets on it. You can do debugging. And the bottom line is that you don't need to leave VS Code to do your work. You can just stay here and never have to step out of it, right? So as I mentioned before, you can edit and build, debug, and with ease. And it also includes Git with superpowers. When I mean superpowers, it's not really superpowers. It's just that you don't have to leave VS Code in order for you to do your work or your development work. You can stay here and do everything from within VS Code. You can customize it to your blue in the face, basically. I mean, you can change the themes, you can change the panel, resize the panels, change the location of the panels. You can do whatever your heart contents, right? And in my humble opinion, it's one of the best IDEs on the planet with over 30,000 free plugins. I mean, 30,000 free plugins. You're going to need a super machine to install all these plugins, right? So basically, so what do you get out of the box when you install VS Code? You get a whole bunch of stuff. And these are only the tip of the iceberg here. I couldn't fit no more. As you can see, it's already like expanding from side to side, right? You get an integrated CLI, which, as I said before, you no longer have to go to another console and try to, open up the console, get away from VS Code, do your console CLI commands there. You can just do it in VS Code because it's integrated into VS Code. And you don't have to use just the console that comes default with your operating system. You can use other ones. You can use PowerShell. You can use the command CMD, command from DOS. You can use Bash, the Bash CLI. You can use whatever you want, Linux, whatever you want. So this is how good VS Code was built towards the developer, right? They want you to have choices. They want you to feel comfortable and doing development work. So, you got your teams and you have, all this other what do you call it? Perks that come along with it, right? You also have Emmet, which I'm going to discuss later on. You can code in multiple languages. It doesn't have just to be in TypeScript, which is the official language of Microsoft that they built specifically for Angular. So you can code in Python, Java, whatever you want. It doesn't matter what language you pick, you can code in VS Code. So if you move away from Angular later on, you still can code using VS Code. You don't have to go pay for another IDE or, rack your brain of what I'm going to use now, right? So because you have so many plugins for not only for Angular, for like other languages, that is like you're never gonna be exhaust the amount of plugins that you get, right? There's also now a bracket colorizer was a plugin before this new version of VS Code, but now it's integrated into it, which was a good choice because, and you will see why later on. They also have Git integration, which also is great because now you can clone, push, pull, stash, you name it. Anything that you can do with Git command line, you can do it graphically with VS Code, right? And it's integrated into VS Code, and you'll see. I'll give you a little demo about that as well. You can also create your own snippets, and there's a whole bunch of snippets that are in the public repository for snippets in VS Code library, right? And you can download them, right? You don't have to. Let's say you wanna you had a snippet that you built for. Oh my God, I need to sort this array. So every time that you need to sort an array, you come and you look for this file that you have your snippet on, and then you come and you move it into to your development environment. You don't need to do that. You can create your own snippet here, and you can just type a couple of letters, and you will see your snippet on the IntelliSense. You just tap, and right away you get your code done. You can also use VS Code for debugging. So you no longer are tied to doing console logs and going into the inspector in the Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer, right? You can do debugging from here. So you can go and debug. You could start the debugger. It will start up the application. And then when you put your breakpoints, it will come back to your application. You can make your changes or inspect the variable at that point. And you can just make your changes here, save them, and you can continue with your debugging, right? So instead of going to running the applications, going to the browser, going to the inspector, going through the console logs, looking at your code, then coming back to your code and doing your edits, running your application again, and then you get the point, right? Also, where I'm going with this, right? So that's also another good feature that VS Code has built in, right? It also has the IntelliSense, meaning that when you are typing your code, it will give you intelligent sense. In other words, it will show you what else can you do with that method, or what other properties are available, or any parameters that this method requires, right? If you create your own method, it will still give you the requirements for that method, right? And this is the reason why we always build interfaces, right? Because when we're dealing with objects and we have an interface, it forces you, because you are in this IDE that has IntelliSense, right? It forces you to make the object with the contract that the object has, right? So if an object has 3 properties, it makes you, or it forces you to make sure that those 3 properties are there, right? Any questions? I don't want to keep on rambling. All right. Okay.
I've got one, Rob.
Oh, you got one. Okay.
Just on the previous slide, did those percentages mean anything?
No, basically those are my percentages. Let me see. How can I go back here? Up arrow. Oops, sorry. So those are importance to me. That's what my importance. I see the importance of this here, right? Right.
Thank you.
No problem. So let me give you a brief explanation of what Emmet is. Emmet is built into VS Code, and Emmet is basically snippets taken to the next level, right? So you love the way that snippets work, right? You just type a couple of letters, and boom, you get your entire code typed out for you, and you can replace the properties that you have already put in place, right? And let's say that you need to replace a variable here, a variable there. So it does the same thing. This is a little bit more dynamic, and it's a CSS-like expression that can be dynamically parsed. Basically, what it means is that it can be expanded just like a snippet, right? But this one expands it in a sort of a hierarchy when we're talking about HTML, right? When we're talking about other items, it just expands a specific property for you automatically in CSS, right? And it's super useful when you're writing HTML and CSS. So keep that in mind. I posted here a link for a cheat sheet that you can use so that you can get more familiarized with Emmet. And here are some of the commands that we can use for Emmet, right? We have the bang, right? And what the bang does is creates a skeleton of HTML for you automatically. So all you have to do is create a bang, and automatically, boom, it creates an HTML. And I can show you that here. So let's create, let me erase this thing here. So if I do a bang, oh, sorry. If I do a bang, you see right away, it tells you. Emmet abbreviation. I can just hit a tab key, and automatically it shows me everything. Shows me the whole skeleton of the HTML. And I don't know about you, but I used to memorize these things, and now I don't have to. With one single keystroke, I can type this whole entire HTML skeleton, right? We also have other Emmet, let's call it snippets, right? That you can use, right? Let's say the first two, which is, let's say that I want to that I have this div, and this div has an ID, right? All I have to do is name the div. So I'm gonna name it my ID, my div ID, right? And automatically, as you can see, look, it's an Emmet abbreviation, and it shows you at the bottom how is it going to expand it. You see that? And it puts the cursor where I needed to put it, right? So that I can continue to do my work, right? I can also do classes the same way. So I can do div, class, my class name, right? And it automatically shows you again that this class is going to be for a div. So keep in mind that when you're doing this hashtag and the dot, you are only specifying it for a div. You're not specifying it for another element in your HTML. So if you want to specify for a specific element, let's say a paragraph, I want to say that this is the title, right? Something like that. Then I can just put a dot, the letter P for paragraph, the dot, and then automatically it writes out the class for me, right? So you're saying like, oh yeah, this is nice, but what else can you do with Emmet? Well, you can do something like this, like, let's say that I have this container, and then I have inside here UL, and inside my UL I have an LI, and then inside there I want this LI to have a class called my list. And then I want the list to have numbers, and check it out, right? So you're saying like, oh, but I want 5 of them. Okay, you want 5? You want 5 LIs? There you go. And now it names the class with the numbers that you specify for each one. You can also do, maybe, let's say that you want to have a you want to have inside there some anchors inside those. There you go. Each one of those LI has an anchor now, and then you can use them as buttons if you wanted to. And that saves you, let's say you have 50 buttons. Imagine typing this 50 times or copying and pasting this 50 times, right? It's a pain. So this is why Emmet is so powerful. And this is why I'm glad that it's part of VSCode, right? A really popular one is this form search, because it creates a whole form for you that you don't have to do anything. Also, the input is also great because it can give you. Let's say that I have another form here. Form, right? Get right, and then inside here, I have a button, right? And the button, I want it to be a submit button. Look at this. I don't have to do anything, guys. It's so easy just to type this. And the best part is you don't make a mistake because you don't have to type anything. No spelling issues, right? And the input is the same thing. I can have any type of input, a button input, a checkbox input. As long as I type the input and I put a colon, it gives me the properties of different types of input that I can choose from here, right? I would say I want a checkbox. There you go. So this is the power of Emmet, right? The same thing applies for CSS, right? Let's say that I want to write a class, right? I'm sorry. I want to write a class. So the sample class that I wrote before, right? And now I want to do color. I could just do color, And I could just do the color number, 3C, 3C. There you go. If I want to do background, I don't need to type background. I just do BG. And I just put the color that I want. If I want to do a width, I could just do width and then 150 pixels. Tab. That's it. There is no need to type anymore with Emmet. It's so easy for you to do everything with it, right? So those are two powerful samples of how Emmet is used, right? You can do abbreviations for anything as long as you start typing. Let's say that I want to do pattern left, right? I would do PD, and automatically it comes out pattern left, right? And if you want to put a property on it, you do the colon, and then you can type the property, or you could choose the property after that. So it's pretty nice, pretty neat. Any questions on the Emmet portion of it? So also VSCode has something else that's very powerful, which is keyboard shortcuts, right? For editing your code. And if you want to code faster, then I suggest that you learn keyboard shortcuts, right? And the keyboard shortcuts for Windows and Linux, they share the same one, because when you go to a Linux computer, you have the Windows keyboard, so they share the same keyboard shortcuts. And here to the right, I show you a couple of the, let me just hide this. I show you here a couple of the different keyboard shortcuts that I use all the time, that I use frequently all the time. So let's take, for instance, Control Shift P, right? So in VS Code, if I do Control Shift P, it gives me the opportunity to type anything that I want to know about VS Code, right? So let's say that I want to change my themes, right? There you go. I just type the word themes, and it shows me here, what do you need to do to change my theme around, right? Let's say that I want to know how to insert a new line. There you go. It gives you the keystrokes for you to insert a new line, above, below, right? So let's say that I'm here, right? And I want to take this paragraph with the title, right? And put it inside this on line 14, right? Of this code, right? So one way to do it is to highlight the entire thing, right? Can do this, grab it with my mouse cursor, and then put it here. And then, but then I'm gonna have to go here, right? Then I'm gonna have to go here again. Gonna have to hit my, oops, see what happened? So then I gotta make an arrow key, press the arrow key, hit the enter, and then everything is good again. Then I gotta go here and delete this space, right? Because I want my code to look nice, right? So instead of doing all that, right? Why don't you use the keystroke, right? Which is Alt Shift. Oh, sorry. Oh God, my keyboard's not behaving properly. So if I hold the Alt key and the arrow keys, I can move it anywhere I want to move this, and automatically it goes into place where I need it. Look at the tabbing automatically. I don't need to do anything. Tabbing is preserved, right? That's one thing you can do. You can also do Shift, Alt, and it duplicates the lines. So you don't need to go, and you could be anywhere on this line. I don't need to be in the end of the line. I could be there, right? Oops, sorry. Right? I could be in the middle of the line. I don't need to be there, right? So another good thing that you can do is let's say that you want to change this title, which is misspelled, right? Everywhere, right? I want to change this to be the proper class name, right? So I don't want to go and type it here. I got to change it here. Then I got to copy it and then go and replace this, each one. All you have to do is do highlight the word that you want, double click, right? Control D, Control D, Control D. It takes every single occurrence of it, right? And then I can just go and type the title the right way. There you go. All of them are typed. Don't forget to press the escape key, because otherwise you'll be typing everywhere that your cursor is at, right? And we don't want that, right? Let me do the Control D again, and then make sure that the word is spelled the correct way, right? So here I have this thing called control spacebar, right? In my list there. And control spacebar gives you what is called IntelliSense, which is the same thing that what I'm doing right now. If I put my cursor on top of a method, automatically tells me what the method does, right? As you can see here, right? The same thing happens if you do control spacebar. So if I'm here and I do control spacebar, I can see other items, right, that start with the same thing, with a CON, right? That's one thing, right? Or I can do so as you can see here, it gives me that, right? But if I do log, it keeps on giving me this IntelliSense of telling me exactly what I need to satisfy this method, right? And the same thing you can get by doing control spacebar. It works the same way, right? So a lot of things that I see that developers do that that I don't do is the following. Let's say that here that I have that I need to put on destroy as well, right? As you can see here, this is giving me IntelliSense already, and it's also giving me an opportunity to import this automatically. I don't need to go and put it in the import statement here on top. So that makes my life easier, because I don't have to think. I don't have to say, I need to import this, I need to import that. Automatically imports it for you. So I see a lot of people that go here, oh my God, I gotta get an event emitter. So then they go here and they import it, or they write out the whole import statement. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is, add output. And again, the same thing here. I just do the tab. Don't finish completing the entire method. Just do the tab right there. Automatically imports it for you, right? So the same thing happens, you know, if I want to do, like, I don't know. So right now it's not giving me IntelliSense, right? Because this other Copilot plugin is interfering with it. So what I do is, you can do control spacebar, right? But remember, I already have it imported from before, remember? Because I typed it in. So you can do a space bar, and they will give you more IntelliSense of what this does. Let's go back to our trusty. So for other keyboard shortcuts, we have Control F2, which does the same thing as the Control D, but you don't have to keep on doing Control D to select every single occurrence of the word that you highlighted. It will search for it, and it will replace it everywhere that you want. Control G is a good one, because let's say that you're in this lengthy, you know, file here, and you want to go to line, I don't know, 32 or whatever. Automatically, you could just type Control G, and it puts you on the line that you want to go to. I can, you know, redo, if maybe that wasn't the line, maybe I want to go to line 10, right? So as you can see, there's this bar here that's telling you where you are, right? So let's say that you want to be on on send mode right here, right? You can do Control B to get rid of the left panel and the right panel. Wherever your left panel is at, if it's on the left or the right, to get rid of it. So now you are concentrated here. Or you can press F11, which doesn't work on my computer for some reason, but F11 gives you Zen mode. So basically, it's just you and your code. You can concentrate on this code by itself, and there's no other distractions. So you might want to use that, you know, whenever you need to concentrate. So with that's F11 there, and Control B. And F5 gives you the opportunity to debug your application, right? So F5 is right here, and you can run your debugger automatically, which is going to bring back. So it's going to run your application for you here and, you know, debug it for you. So whenever you put a breakpoint, it's going to come back to this breakpoint here automatically. So remember, F5, you don't need to do anything. The only thing that you might have needed to do was configure your browser, which you can do by just clicking here. If it's not the first time that you run it, you need to click here. If it's the first time that you run it, it's going to come and bring this config file for you automatically so that you can change your port here for the local host, because it's going to have port 8080. You're going to have to change that to 4200 or whatever port number you're using. And if you're not using Chrome, then you need to change the Chrome as well, all right, to Firefox or whatever it is that you do, right? And this is just the workspace that is going to use by default to when you do ngserve, it knows where to go get your application so they can debug it. All right, let's close this. And here I'm giving you two links, one for the Windows shortcuts and the one for the Mac OS. But you can certainly just go to VSCode and you can see all the documentation that they have there and all the quick tips and all that stuff. So I just show you debugging, and also I gave you a debugging. Oops, why is this doing this? Sorry. So I gave you a brief description of how to debug in VS Code and what to do. And then if you want more information, you can go to this link here that I provided for you. So be more productive. There's, like I said, there's 30,000 plugins out there that you can use at your disposal. Please don't use them all at the same time. So these are my favorite plugins that I use all the time. And the one here in the green, this spell checker, is like my favorite. You will not believe the amount of misspelled words that I find when I'm doing my PRs. It's like, you know, even, and this is so important because remember, the UI front end is the presentation card to your application. That's what everybody looks at. Nobody looks at that the API is doing this, that the database is performing the way that it should be doing. That they just looking at your UI. That's the most important thing for them. So if that's the most important thing for them, please spell the word the right way. So code spell checker is also for coding, and also for when you do any HTML, you know, typing, you see that the words are spelled correctly or not. Another great one is Turbo Console, and I use it all the time. Let's say that I want to make sure that I have this. I want to cancel out this magic test, right? So Control-Shift-L, Control-Alt-L, sorry. It gives me automatically a console log with the file that I'm in, right? Also the line number, right? The method, the component that I'm in, or the class, what method I'm in, and then the variable name, and then the variable value for you automatically. So I think this is a great thing, because when you're debugging, you want to be as specific as possible in order for you to know where you have to go and debug this item, right? Also, get length. So get length is, I cannot rave enough about this little plugin. I mean, look what it says here. You see that in gray right here? What is it saying? I edited this document a minute ago. You don't know how many times I have blamed other people for something that I edited. So, right? So get length gives you binoculars right into the changes that have been made to the code, right? And that brings me to a good point, because if you go here to the Git icon in VS Code, and I double click on this file. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, I think I haven't put it in yet. This one. So add component TS gives me all the changes that have been made to this file, and this one hasn't been committed. So this is the reason why you see that this is blank and this has changes in here inside here, right? But if I commit this, see, it asks me if I want to commit the ones that I say no, just commit the changes that I have, right? Now, if I go here again now to my app component, look what it does for you automatically. It compares the two files for you so that you know what you changed in real time, right? So now if I need to commit this file again, these are all my changes that I made here, so that I understand that, you know. So that's another powerful feature of the Git integration with VS Code, right? We also have Thunder Client, which is an sort of like a Postman. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but Postman is for you to test your APIs. So you can test your get, post, you know, delete, anything that has to do with APIs, you can test them through here. And someone asked me a question yesterday, if Thunder Client does documentation. So I researched it, and yes, it does documentation for you out of the box. So it's pretty good, because you can have it here on your, let me stop my, so how do I get Thunder Client to work after I install it? So you do Control-Shift-P, right, again, right, and then Thunder. And it gives you all the different things that you can do, right? If you just want to do focus on Thunder Client view, you can do that, and it's going to give you a little view here. You see, there you go, with all your past gets, right? You can do a new request, and as soon as you send it, you can see your response right here, right? And then I can save this. Let me see if I can do this. Let me copy this and save it to a file. Oops. I guess I didn't save it.
Yeah, probably didn't copy, Rob. Do you mind if I just make an observation whilst you're doing the
Yes,
comparison
yes,
there, right?
yes.
Because a trick that I use, because I like what you've just shown there with the Thunder. What is it? Thunder
Client.
Thunder Client. Yeah, because I use Postman. Just simply because projects I work on, they recommend it.
We all use Postman.
Yeah.
But remember what I said. I don't want you to leave VS Code.
Yes, damn right. Well,
VS
I
Code
can.
is greedy like that. He
Yep,
doesn't want you to leave, so he wants you to do everything here. You don't need to leave VS Code to go and do anything that you need to do for your development work.
that's right. I can see the benefit, but where you're pasting in this JSON file, I
Yes.
frequently use API results. I just paste them into interfaces and then convert the types.
Yes.
Because it gives you legal JSON, which can be an interface. It's the quickest route to creating an interface in VS Code using type.
Right. You're using that, and I use JSON to TS.
Ah, you've got a shortcut. Ah, I'd
Yeah,
like to see
this one
that
is
then.
JSON to TS, and that one does the conversion for you automatically to the interface. That's what I was going to get to next.
Bring it on. Sorry, my bad.
How we doing on time, Tom?
You got just coming up 6:45.
Okay. Also, like I said, just finished saying JSON to TS, right? So that converts your JSON file into a interface, so that you don't have to worry about it, right? Because sometimes it's very hard when you have like about 50 fields, and you need to create an interface, and you need to give it type and all that stuff. So this does the same thing as your type. What is it? JSON type? What is it called? Yours? The one that you mentioned, Tom?
Oh, I was just referring to copy pasting from Postman into an interface.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
but clearly this is a good shortcut. I'm going to steal it. That's good.
Yeah, JSON to TS. That one does the job for you. And a prettier, prettier is very close to my heart, because when you are reviewing PRs, it's like if everyone it has different styles or structure, or how they code they structure their code, it's very hard for you to PR a lot of requests at the same time. So if we all are using prettier, which formats your code in a specific way, which you can configure, right? As a team, you can configure it. And if everybody's on the same format structure, then it's easier for everyone to look at each other's code, right? And we all know what we're expecting. We're expecting for this to break at this point. We're expecting for the HTML to break at a specific point. So when you have things like that structured that way, it makes everything so much easier for you to even to review your own code. It makes it so much easier, because you don't have to. Let's say that you have this long line, right? And you got to be going back and forth to read what it has. But with Prettier, it breaks it down so that you have it in the screen, right? You don't need to scroll back, left and right in order to do that. And last but not forgotten is the Angular schematic and rename Angular component, which was Tom's favorite, right? Rename Angular component, which is a good plugin. And thank you, Tom, for providing that.
Thank you. I'm working on an update currently to support NX workspaces as well.
Oh, nice, nice. So the Angular schematics, you don't no longer have to go into the CLI and type your ng commands. You can just do it from the actual. This computer is not behaving with this mouse. Give me a second. Let me just. Oh, another good thing about the terminal here, you can have different terminals and you can rename them as you wish. So this one, I can rename to whatever I want. So I can rename it to, right? I can rename it to that. I can sort them. Let's say that I want that to be on top, right? Instead of being at the bottom, right? You can trash them if you want, if you think that they're taking too much resources. So now I can have my node running my code, and I can go to this one to do my ng, which I'm telling you not to do anyway, but ng stuff, right? Generate new component, right? I can have one doing that, right? And maybe I can have another one with running my spot, right? My single spot. It's an application for you to run multiple Angular applications at the same time, right? On the same environment. So what it does, it pulls different applications for you. Then now we go to get integration with VS Code, right? So like I said, you can clone, you can commit, you can stash, and you can pull and push. And you can do more than that from what I've shown you, right? You can go here to Git and look at your files, and you can get a comparison automatically, right? That's one thing you can do. You can you might be wondering, like, if I have all these files, do I have to keep on pressing the plus sign to stage them? No, you can highlight all of them if you want. You can highlight all of them, just press it once, and it will stage all of them, right? You can pick a file and say, no, I don't want to stage this guy. So you can just click on the minus. It will unstage it. Let's say that I want to, oh my God, I need to save this for later. Right, I need to stash this because I want to use it in another branch that I'm going to pull, right? So you can stash that. Right, and then it's going to go away, but I can always come back and just say, apply latest stash, right? I can do that, or I can say apply stash, and then it's going to give me a list of all the stashes that I have, right? And I can pick from one of them and then pull it back into the branch, right? You can check out branches through here as well. The same thing. Sorry. You can check out, right? You can create your own branch from here. You don't need to leave. You don't need to do anything in the command line. You can merge branches. You can create your own branches. You can delete a branch from the Git environment that you're using. You don't need to do anything anywhere. Everything is here for you. So you don't have to take your hands off VS Code. I don't work for VS Code, by the way. So just as a as a reminder, I'm just passionate about VS Code. So that's why I thought that everybody should get a taste of VS Code. And so with VS Code, IntelliSense, debugging features, along with all those specific and non-specific plugins that VS Code has to offer, right? Your Angular development should become a breeze. People are going to be like, did you just type all that stuff? That's how it's going to be. So I hope that you use VS Code in the future development work. Thank you, and thank you for letting me ramble about the best little IDE that could. Hope you found it beneficial to you on your development work and future development work. Thank you. And thank you for Angular Nation, and thank you for AG Grid for allowing me to give this talk. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rob. That was really great. I learned a lot. Hope you guys did too. If you're up for it, we could give him a little round of applause if you fancy opening your mics.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Has anybody?
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah.
I had to rush through it because yesterday's I went overboard for too long, so I didn't want to happen the same thing today. But I'll give you the link to the slides so that you guys can look at it and go through the links.
Great. That was my question, actually. So yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could just paste that into the chat directly. That'd be lovely.
All right.
I don't know if you guys noticed it in the chat. I suggested that you paste your links to other extensions that you like, because it's most useful to sort of share, you know, the ones that we use every day. Yeah, there's a few other favorites, but I liked Rob's idea of using Git Lens. these days I use git blame just because there's a bit less plugin stuff to deal with. But yes, I like to click on a piece of code and know who did it, who did that bad.
Yes.
All good. All good. Anyway, I'll be quiet now. I can see that there's a few piped up. Romek, you've posted some extensions there. Do you care to comment?
Yeah, actually, I posted two things. One is just Vim, because it's actually a pretty good Vim experience inside of VS Code, which is amazing and makes editing so much easier. But the other is probably more Angular specific. It's Angular to Switcher, and it's really nice because it allows me to quickly switch between HTML, JS, or TS files within components. But it's kind of stopped working recently, at least as well as it used to. And I was wondering what other people use to just be able to quickly switch between files within a component. Do you have any suggestions, Rob, or anyone else?
No, I haven't had a chance to dig into other plugins, but I will research it. I mean, I can always hit you up on Angular Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
And this is the other extension, the Marketplace Visual Studio. The quick type. Is that from you, Tom, right? From who's
No, that's from me, man. Yeah.
Oh,
so
sorry,
you used the JSON to TypeScript one, but this one basically is for any other languages as well. So
okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Is there any more for any more, or are we sort of tying up here?
Ooh, I'm trying to see. I've got too many. That's what I've got. My problem is. Actually, a good one I use is Errorlens. Actually, if anyone else doesn't look at it, it just basically shows all the errors on the console, or not in the console, but it's a really good one actually. So especially for TypeScript, Errorlens.
Excellent. Yes, I'll take a look at that one. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think we're sort of coming to an end. Thank you very much, Rob. That was really good.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening.
I think we enjoyed it. Generally, I know I did. All right. Well, I think with that, we'll probably close off unless anybody else has got something they want to pipe up with. Welcome to say so now. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's been a pleasure to have you all. And good to have you in there, Rob. Come again.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.